Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Between Two Brokers.
Hi.
Hi. Have you missed me?
Yes.
You
Have
lie.
you missed me?
I always miss you.
You do.
But you don't miss me. I know this for a fact.
I don't miss many people.
But yeah, so you don't miss me. Fuck you. That's my point. Anyway.
I don't miss you till I'm with you.
And then you're like,
Is that fair?
Damn, she's cool as shit. I should. No, I mean, so what's been going on? We haven't seen each other for a couple weeks.
I'm getting my PhD in nursing.
How do you like that?
This year. So last Thanksgiving, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and in January she had a mastectomy. I went home to take care of her. Spence had his knee replaced the week before last, so I've been taking care of him. My mom's going to have her hip replaced this fall, so I'm going to have to take care of her. So,
Whoa.
Do you need care for?
No. No.
I'm getting really good at it.
Yeah.
But I'm also learning that I was not meant to be a mother, which I already knew, but this is just confirming that.
Yeah.
Because I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
You know? Not that I'm not happy to be doing it because I love him and, I would do anything for him. But I'm glad I'm not really busy with work right now because I'm able to stay home and take care of him. But it's also like I'm doing everything with Levi rather than like splitting that up. And Levi's favorite thing to do is go see all of his friends at the dog park every day at 5:30. And so I'm just like imagining getting home from work and then having to go to like a baseball practice that goes on until like 9 p.m. and then coming home and feeding everybody. And I'm just like, oh my God.
I don't know how people do it.
I don't know how moms do it if they work at the same time. It drains me.
Yeah.
But that has been, I got a mountain house.
Tell.
You got a mountain house.
Tell.
Yeah. I forgot about that because this knee kind of like took over. But we went up for 10 days in July, and there was a house that we saw. I actually talked about it on the podcast, the one that the listing agent took all the pictures on her iPhone at night.
Oh, yeah.
And so our agent had to go FaceTime. Well, we loved it over FaceTime. And so it was still on the market when we went there, and we actually got a great deal on it.
Because the agent took iPhone photos?
Maybe. They were also priced too high. But our agent said that when she went for the FaceTime, the seller was there and she chatted her up a little bit, which can always work to your benefit. She could just tell that she was ready to be done with this house. Her husband passed away. They had several vacation homes. This was his favorite. She didn't care about it. So she just wanted to be done with it. And so we lowballed and we got it. And, we had a pretty good inspection, which thank God, because that was the problem with the first house we had under contract. But we close on the 31st.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm so excited.
That's awesome. And you're going to renovate?
We're renovating 2 bathrooms, and then I'm making the laundry room into a 3rd bathroom so that each bedroom has its own bathroom. My favorite thing about the house, aside from the design, it's very mid-century modern. You said you really liked it. But it abuts the Nantahala National Forest. So you walk out the back door, and 10 feet from the porch is National Forest. So no one will ever build there, but also we can just walk out the back door and go for a hike, which is what we love about going up there.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so excited for you.
In 75 degrees.
Yeah.
I'm miserable in this weather right now, as you can imagine.
I feel like it's not been that bad.
Oh my God.
It's been in like the 80s. I don't know.
No.
I can't stand the summertime because I can't stand the air conditioning. Like I want to be on my porch right now, roasting.
It may say 80 something, but it feels like 101.
Yeah. Well, I went out to Utah with my girlfriend Alex on a hiking trip, and it was 110 degrees where we were, which was crazy.
I'm sure you
but it
loved
was
it.
dry. I loved it. I did totally love it. But yeah, so I guess the week y'all were in the mountains buying the house, so to talk about the mountain house for a second though, it took you guys like 6 months from when you like turned it on, right?
Yeah, 7 months, yeah.
So one thing that somebody mentioned to me on the podcast that they got like really, I guess, self-conscious about, and they misheard me, but they said, "Oh, you said on the podcast that if you don't find the house after 6 houses," and I was like, "No, 6 months."
Yeah.
And I mean like 6 months of like seriously looking. Now you're out of town, so I feel
Right.
like that takes a little bit longer. But I do think that you have to be aware of that. Like if you're not finding anything, then something needs to be adjusted. It doesn't mean, or you're not ready, like those types of things. So, yes. So, okay, I'm like all over the place.
You went to Utah.
I went to Utah with my girlfriend Alex, and we went to Zion National Park and got in the lottery and did these crazy hikes. One of them was called Angel's Landing, and the other one was called the Narrows, which was they said it was a 12-mile hike or something. It wound up being 24 miles, and we did it in 10 hours. And the last like 10 miles, you're in this river and you have all these rocks that are covered in algae. So I had to use trekking poles, which I've never used before.
Oh my God, we love hiking with trekking poles. I'm so proud of you.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not like a gear person, which is why I love running, because all I need are running shoes. So the day before we left, Alex texted me and was like, "Hey, will you bring your trekking poles?" I'm like, "I don't have trekking poles." So I went out to this awesome place called the Dead Rat in St. George, which is where we flew into. And the guy who wrote what was his name? Anyway, he wrote this book on Zion. He like hooked me up with all the gear. So I was fine. I had to have like neoprene socks so none of the sand would get in there. So everything was fine. The trip was incredible. It was definitely like a fitness trip because Alex is like a crazy athlete, and we just had a great time. So we were in Zion for 2 days. The third day we went to Bryce Canyon, which is like definitely one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. I mean, I just like, you know how I get sometimes, Erin. I wept. I mean, it was like 8:00 in the morning. It was, I just couldn't even. I was like, holy shit. The trails were white, and everything around us was like pink and salmon and like coral colored. I mean, I felt like I was on a different planet. It was so incredible. And of course, then when I got up to reception, I had people, texting me about stupid shit. Mm-hmm. It just puts everything in perspective. That's why I like to travel. That's why I like to be in nature. And it was a great trip. So that was awesome. Hung out with my parents in the mountains and did put a mountain house under contract. And we're still in due diligence and there's some stuff going on there. So I don't know if it'll work out or not. But, it's funny, like, my mom really wanted to see the house. It's very us. It's a stone house. It's very charming. The garden is incredible. The garden is like its own forest, and it's right in downtown Hendersonville, and it's a half acre, and there's all these mature trees, and you feel like you're in the middle of the forest, but you're right. Mm-hmm. You're right downtown. And it's a very unique property, and interestingly, of course, birds of a feather flock together. I find like it's the seller is this like spiritual guide woman with some Native American last name, and she's given a TED talk and everything, and is just like, I'm very, very cool, very connected. I mean, somebody who's going to be drawn to the property is going to be like very into nature and stuff like that. So anyway, we'll see. The issue is this, which is a, interesting thing that I have not encountered before. The property was listed at 2,800 square feet, and it's like a upstairs and downstairs type, like she Airbnbs the downstairs. And, so that it was a multiple offer situation. I was totally happy to overpay for it just to get it. And by the way, we walked through the house. I saw my parents' reaction. I know how I felt. And I told my agent within like 3 minutes, I was like, 100% we're writing an offer. Like, mm-hmm. I don't care if you have to like cancel the next appointment. Like and that's like, I always say, like, But then I asked her to see the old listing, and this was after we were already under contract. So like 3 days later, she sent it to me, and the old listing had that it was 1,800 square feet, which is 1,000 square feet difference. And it's because the ceiling height downstairs is only
7 feet or
it's
whatever,
not,
yeah.
it's like 6'9". So you can't really count that. I mean, technically it's usable square footage, but you can't really count it. And so it's like, would we have been willing to pay that price for something that was that small? I didn't even have the chance to evaluate it. So we're just going to kind of see where the appraisal comes in and
I
evaluate.
found that and I don't know if it's the mountains specifically. I think it is, but I haven't looked for real estate in the rest of North Carolina, so I don't assume it's a statewide thing. But square footage was not like a major parameter in the MLS. Like you can leave it blank up there.
That's crazy.
I
It's
know.
like the number one determining factor, don't you think? I mean,
And I guess because the mountain, maybe it's just like it's so based on like the location and the view or the bedrooms or the septic, like how many bedrooms can the septic support. But I mean, a lot of the listings had blank square footage.
that's so weird.
I know.
No,
that
I
you would be
didn't notice
allowed to
that.
enter it
Yeah.
without that.
Yeah.
But it's not a thing. Ours also came in under, like by 500 square feet.
Yeah, that's not the end of the world, though.
No, it's fine.
But yeah, I mean, and I went in and I was like, I was aggressive about everything. So aggressive. Like when I want something, oof, you're not going to beat me.
Yeah.
It's not going to be possible. But then I put a lot at risk. So if we back out, like my termination fee is $10,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyway.
And so if you do move forward, is it a renovation or?
Kinda. I mean, it's in pretty good shape, but the downstairs, like we would do a kitchen, like full complete kitchen. It's kind of like a halfway kitchen. I mean, if we short-term rent it, it will be, it wouldn't be like a duplex. Like somebody would rent the whole house, but like somebody could stay in the basement and basically have like a kind of functioning kitchen, like a kitchenette, basically. It has all the appliances and everything. But yeah, over time and anyway, we'll see. I mean, it's a really cool property. I really like Hendersonville.
Yeah.
It's you get up there, it's like 3 hours and 20 minutes on Highway 26, and then you're there. And I think that anyway, we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's it. And I don't really know what else is going on.